Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. So we are on video number 7. Yes, 7. Yikes. Man, it's running way longer than I thought. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to condense them down the best I can for our build series on the Revell Boss 351 Mustang 1971. Yes, sir. So the build has been going very well. Like I say, we're almost done with it. So I'm going to wrap this up in this video and another one. So we got 2 to go. Yeah, so we're going to do it in 2 videos. So this video here is going to be, we're going to finish up that rear suspension, do some of the body work on it, and that kind of like some of the trinkety stuff. And then in the final video, video number 8, we will finish up and put the car together, final assembly, and do kind of a reveal on it, which obviously we kind of know what it's looking like at this point, but yeah. So other than that, let's take you to the bench and let's get started on it and get this thing wrapped up. All right, guys, so we are pretty much complete with this. I did chip some black paint out there, so I touched that up. Like I say, the underneath is ready for the back half. But before I move on to this, we're going to get the tires finished up. Get those, well, actually, I should say started. Let's go that route. So I haven't even opened up the rims out of the bag yet. They're still sitting in their plastic bag, waiting to be worked on. So these are fresh out of the baggie. So a couple videos I showed you guys, I use my nippers, but I need to get some actual model nips. These are actually for model railroad, so they don't cut 100% the crispest. They do have the sharp edge, but these are rail nippers. They do work just as good. They do have the flat side, so you can get right up close. But I did notice, like I showed you on my hood a while back, sometimes if you got something where it's got a sloped edge, it can bite into it just a little bit. But this part here, it's not going to matter. Just because the tire kind of goes up inside that against this part where I'm cutting it, so you don't really see this anyway. So I can probably even leave it untouched and it'll still probably be all right. But not that we're going to do it that way, but So obviously this leaves just a little bit, not much, just enough. So I have not taken the tires out of the bag either. So I'm kind of curious what those are. How those are going to be. Per instructions, they want you to put the tires and everything on now. I usually don't put tires on until I put the chassis on. I put the tires on kind of last, other than slapping the hood on it. Okay guys, so we're going to sand these wheels up. So I take a socket. This is just a 12mm, and I took one of these. You can buy these already made, but I got tons of these laying around, so I just cut one off. And it fits our tire nice. And I could probably do multiple tires if I want, but it's nice just to control one at a time. So just chuck this baby up. And away we go. So I just take a sanding stick and just let her run. I really sand them down quite a ways. So I like to put a little edge on them, like so. Gives a nice little. We've been down the road for a few miles. It's a lot quicker than sitting there and trying to rotate them, and they got some weird flat spot in it and all that kind of stuff. So that's just way nicer. All right, easy as that. Okay, so we'll leave those to the side. So we got our backing plates, which we painted earlier on. So those are here ready to roll. And then we have the inserts that goes inside the plates. So I'm not worried about trimming these off because you're not gonna notice anything. So now that I'm looking at this, I can see I painted the wrong side. That was pretty nice of me because those fit in there and that fits like that. No, maybe I'm right. Maybe I did good. No, I did wrong. Yep. Okay. Well, you know, at least it's black in there now, I guess. So this means I'm gonna have to mix up the old airbrush quick and shoot these in the back. Oh yeah, every one of them. Haha, right. Well, that's just the way it goes, isn't it? Okay. Well, let me shoot these quick and yeah, I'll be back. Alright guys, so we're painting these wheels, these Magnum 500. So how I'm painting these, we're using Tamiya lacquer. This is LP5. And I am using a toothpick to paint these. I got 3 done and I'm going to have to go back through and retouch them up because that chrome is kind of hard to paint on. You guys know that. I almost thought about stripping them down, but I just like the looks of the regular chrome. So I like the paint just ball up on the end of the toothpick and just do a drop in there. Let it wick around. Just catch all the corners. So these Magnum wheels, they're painted all the way to the edge. So pretty much all you do is you see the edge of the rim for the chrome. So this can be a little bit tedious for all of you that's impatient. This may not be the thing for you. Like so. So this jar is about empty, so it works out pretty good. Let's wipe that out. Like so. So I let the toothpick just kind of guide up the side. I take a Q-tip and just wipe off the excess if there is any. Ever so carefully. And like I say, once these dry out a little bit, I'll go back and I don't have to go very heavy on it, but just enough to retouch a little bit of it because it'll kind of bleed back through the chrome will. So now I went to the back on the other ones and I painted around here because that was a little hard to fill that in. Just kind of touch that up just so you don't have any chrome popping through. Okay, we're gonna let those set and we'll come back to them. Okay, so we're getting back on these wheels again. So this application, we're going to put a little bit of Tamiya LP1, some just regular gloss black. Like I say, because these wheels are just pretty much a shiny black. So, and this should be the final run for this. And once that dries out, we'll take a marker, or a Malto marker, and we'll hit those lug nuts one time. Something like that. We'll just make our way around and finish her up. I was painting a lot easier this time around because I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just basically touching it up and just giving it the extra shine with the black, with the gloss black. I've colored outside the line there just a little bit. We'll grab that in a minute. All right, we'll get that cleaned up and we'll move on to the next one. So I'll bring you back when I'm done. Okay guys, gonna get these decals on the tires. So I've already done all of them but the one. So those turn out pretty cool. Those look really nice. So once I got done painting that black, I took one of my magic little Q-tips, dipped it in some thinner, into my, just some of the mr.color leveling thinner, and I just took and wiped it out. Same here, wiped along here and here, and that gave me that nice, even look all the way around. So once I put these on, these two are just finished. I put some microsol on there and let that set. So we'll do this one for you and get it going. So it's easy for the Firestone one because you can put that anywhere. So the wide oval, that's one you gotta watch and pay attention to because obviously you want to keep it aligned with the Firestone decal. Other than that, they go on pretty nice and they look fantastic. I mean, they look really, really good. Tell you what, these decals are very nice decals. So like I say, I just line up just anywhere Just kind of centered it to the tire. Nothing too over the top. Something like so. And then we put our wide oval on the bottom. So I like to leave that wet just in case I decide I want to move it down just a little bit further. See, these decals are really nice. So now we just line that one up with the one below it and we're good to go. I'll put just a little bit of water in there, help that slide around a little bit. It's a bit too much on it and it just goes underneath and just picks it up, but it makes it easier to move. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Dry that just a little bit. Alright, we'll let them sit and we'll move on. Alright guys, so we're going to get some of the suspension together. So according to the instructions, instruction number 23, they have you take this Y pipe and insert it ever so carefully up in this neighborhood. Then they have you take your exhaust and put in one side at a time, so they give you nice pieces here to set these in. So once you put that together, it gives you a nice look. So obviously if you want to go ahead at that time, paint those clamps, give that a little extra special look. Now I did paint my my mufflers a different color. I believe that's mica silver. So we got our front differential. The pig, as some call it, from the day. On our 9-inch, we got that assembled, put that in there. So they also have you take your leaf springs and glue the spring to the axle and then install it in the car. That's how they have you put it in. So I'm going to go ahead and put this exhaust on and the springs, and I will bring you back just to save a little time here and go from that point, and then we'll get those tires done. Okay, so looking at this exhaust, if you look down in the manifolds, I don't know if you can see that or not, probably not. The manifolds they're square, so the same as your exhaust. So if you push these in just right to the side, they give you a positive lock to them. Okay, what do you say, Craig? You know, I clipped this on like 2 seconds ago just before I videoed it. There we go. So put a little glue in that, and that locks those in really nice. So that way that can't be messed up. That turns out pretty cool. It's not a weekend build. I mean, this has probably been going on for a little bit now. So I've been making multiple videos at one time. So if you see a bunch of them come on at one time, that's why. I think I made the first 5 videos all at one shot before I posted the first one. Okay, like so. Take a Q-tip. Got me some new Q-tips. Yes, sir. Got me the cool ones are back. These Q-tips are awesome. Okay, we got exhaust in there. I'll give that a second to tack up. So they don't give you nothing over the cross member to hold that in place. So you're basically at this point just putting the mufflers on. So according to instructions, this should be muffler for this side. If we turn it around, it'll become muffler for this side. Pay attention. So you got a nice hole that sits into these 2 holes. That's for your muffler. So very nice, very nice. So we're gonna put the side in first. Now I did not pre-fit these in here, so you know, like I tell you on my videos, test fit everything. Going against my rules. Sorry, this seems to be fitting pretty good. It's like so. So the nice thing about this with those 2 holes, there's no way to shimmy it or twist it. It's only going to go that way. I mean, there's nowhere it can go, because if there's one hole, yeah. But with those 2 holes in there, I mean, you can't mess it up. I guess you could if you really tried, but you'd have to be that guy, you know. There's always that one guy. So next up in the instructions, they have you put the rear sway bar in. So I chose to paint mine gloss black with some silver clamps on it to hold it down. And I believe the instructions have you paint like a, I don't know, more like a charcoal color. So we're gonna mock this up real quick. Okay, so after that they have you put the shocks in. I'm so organized, I can't stand it. I did shocks just black. I mean, that's what they call it out in the book. So that's all I did mine in. So basically 66, 65. These pretty much are the same part. Once again, very, very tight fit. So what I may do is just pop that in there and put a dab of glue on the other side. Just to hold that in. And now we'll get that axle put together. But first, we need to put the exhaust tips on. So we got a little tip on the end there. Last one of these I drilled that out, which looks pretty cool. But I think I'm just going to put a little Tamiya pen line in there. Just to give the illusion that it's got a little depth to it. Because that might be a little hard to drill and I don't want to go through the top of it. So I'll just do a little pen line in there just to give it a color. That you'll probably see under there anyways. I'm going to go sideways first just to see if that'll fit in the pen. And it does not. So I'm going to drill that out a little bit with Mr. Big here. Let's do both sides. What holds that up? Nothing. Just the pure fact that it's glued in. Like so. So I see when you put them in there, you got to really watch because you got your holes for your springs. So when you put them in there, you just want to make sure they set just inboard of those holes. So now we need to get the axle put in. Kind of slowly picking at it and just kind of mocking it up here, seeing how things go. So we are starting on with per instructions. They have us put our springs on here. So you have your shock is going to touch there and your sway bar link is going to go to the other side. So yeah, pretty cool. Like I say, really thought out kit. Really nice. I like it. So we'll get this bad boy put on here. Like so. So we'll get a little bit of glue put in here. Get this done. So now we can put this in here. Slide that bad boy in the tranny. So it looks pretty good. So it's nice because that sway bar end bolts right to the top of that cradle or that part of that frame, and your shocks sit nicely right on top of there. So very cool. I mean, it's very nice, very nice. Okay, so that's pretty much that. So that's about the bottom of the car. I like the looks of it so far. I think it's turning out pretty decent. The other thing I got left really for the body is to paint this. So this is black on the inside, but this outer piece and all the pieces on the inside, those are actually chrome. Okay guys, so doing a little detail on these taillights. So I painted the outside of them on the back side with the Tamiya clear red. So painted the back side and I put a little bit of white in the center. So I'm looking at these and they actually have a chrome edge around it. So what I did is I took my Molotow pen and I chromed the outside of the back valance here. I just took my pen and just did the old real careful around there. I thought it looked cool to try to paint that silver on the inside of those lights. So what I'm going to do is try to use my tapping technique I've done before. So I'm going to take my 1146, it looks like, silver enamel, the old good old testers. I'm going to paint one of my sticks here. So hopefully it'll suck it in just enough. I don't want too much on there because I don't want it to bleed through the top. I find these work pretty good because it'll absorb the extra, but it'll leave just enough out on the top to do what you want to do with it. And I'm hoping I can take this and just set it down on there and kind of like pad print it. Nice and subtle. A little more on this edge over here. Yeah, something like that. Looks pretty cool. I filled in all the little lines. So I see it didn't quite go, so that one side might be just a shade higher than the other side. So we'll give it a little bit more here. Of course, if I flip this, I need this corner to here. So you don't want it to where it's like wet, like just dripping almost. You just want the edge of it. Like that. A little bit more up here. Okay, I think that's going to do us. That looks pretty cool. So now once I put the light in the car, there it gives that little chrome on the edge. How cool is that? So now I can go through and paint the back of that light on the back here red. So back with more of my little Tamiya red here. Like I said, I'll cut the tip of this off. Like I said, it's just easier to do this with a toothpick. Very gently, like. I don't want to put on too heavy here. I don't want it to wick over into my light. We'll let that set and we'll come back and check on it. So now once this dries, I'm going to take and put some bare metal foil over the back of it. So it gives it a little more of a shine so it's not so dark looking. Okay guys, so we're getting ready for final assembly here. So this should be pretty good times. So they give you the dome light. So what I'm going to do is we're going to paint this white. Maybe. Like so. And once that dries, we're going to take our chrome pen and go around it. And that should give us a nice appearance. So at this point, we're going to get the windshield and the back window glued in. So we're going to take our chrome pen, just go around the outside of it. It's lacquer, so I'm assuming that's pretty much dry. Gives a nice little chrome edge. Taking the big boy marker over top of it. This looks pretty good. Now we're going to let that set for a minute. Okay guys, so we get some glass put in. So I was like laying a towel down. So I took a little bit of my Meguiar's, polished the window a little bit, get that residue off there. So I just take a little bit of the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish and just put a little bit on the rag, and I'll actually lay it down on this towel and wipe it across, and being careful not to break it. And we did the back glass, so it's all nice and shiny and pretty. So you notice the back glass, it has a rounded edge and then more of a square edge. So the rounded edge goes to the top. That fits in there really nice. So that's the other thing when you're bare metal foiling that, you got to really be careful not to get too much in there. You don't want that to play favor, and that'll be the end of it. So I'm just going to use my Mod Podge to hold this window in. Just take a Q-tip, bend the ends, and just put a little bit on the corners here. It don't take a lot to hold it in. I try to keep it usually pretty straight, so that way when it dries, sometimes this will leave a little line. So this is the nerve-wracking part, putting the body together. Because I'm always afraid of scratching something or something happening. So what I'll probably do is put this in, put all the glass in tonight and let it set for the night. That way I'm not fighting it, trying to do the build part of it, and here the thing's trying to cure and things are popping out and all this good stuff. That windshield almost fits in there tight enough to where you don't need glue, which is nice. So all the glass is in. That mirror was a mother. I don't know. I ended up using canopy glue on that. I used Mod Podge and I must have glued it on 10 times. I'd put the interior in, it fell off. So I used the Evergreen Scale Models Canopy adhesive. So this dries, they say it's stronger. So they say, but they do say this stays flexible, which I do notice that I can bump it and it does move around. So we'll see if that holds, because I know once I get the interior in there, that will not get glued back in, because that was kind of a bugger to put in, and it don't dry as clear as Mod Podge. I will give it that. So I'm going to do is wash this up, not wash it, but I'm going to wipe this down best I can. Then we'll get that interior put in, and then we'll get that lock in place. So I did put the rear valance in, so that is in place. So that goes in really easy. It clipped in really nice. So we got those cool looking lights in there, all that good stuff. So yeah. So once we get this in, the only thing I didn't like is I probably should have went back and touched up my glass around here, and I might still do that before I put the interior in. Just take a little bit of the flat and just kind of get rid of that gloss, because if you did look inside of there, I don't know so much here you'd notice it, but I think around the window would probably be the best thing, because if you look through the side here, you can really see it. I don't know, I might paint that real quick just before we put it together. But before you put this on, they want you to install this in step 42. So they give you a nice lip here, a nice clean lip to apply glue to. And looking at it, kind of mocked it up a little bit. Looks like you're going to set this right on the edge of that lip right there. I'm going to get this cleaned up and we'll get this in final assembly. Don't hit that mirror. I've mocked this up once already and I hit that mirror and I thought, oh my god, if I hit that thing one more time, somebody's gonna die. Alright, so this sits in there pretty nice. So it looks really nice in there. Dash sits nice against that window. And our door panels sit just below the body work, so that's nice. I like that. I'm not gonna glue the front for right now. I'll just let that sit. Alright, so I'm going to take some of my Bob Smith Industries accelerator. And what I like to do is I just take the cap off and I just spray it in the cap. Just give myself a little bit. Because I don't like to spray it in the car because it'll make a mess. So I just take my Q-tips and just take this fat in here, let her soak up, and I'll just dab it in there. I'll dry it up like nothing. And that's it. Just like that. Keep it this way here, just making sure it don't run down the back of the car. Or inside of my interior, I should say. Must did the job because that is hard as a rock. Alright guys, I appreciate you tuning in and following along on these build series. I appreciate everybody that's been watching them so far. I really appreciate it, guys. And like I say, I know there's different ways out there to do it. Just kind of my take on how I do my model building and all that good stuff. So once again, I appreciate you following along, and like I say, most of the supplies and everything I've been using, these all come from Hobby Nut Models, even including the kit. So check out the website and see what you guys can pick up down there and build one yourself. Like I say, very nice model kit, very nice. So once again, I appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you on video number 8, and we'll finish this bad boy up. Thanks again. You guys have a good one.